Hi everyone, my name is Jiaqi. Today I'm very excited to present the power of static pricing for reusable resources. This is a joint work with my advisor Adam. What is reusable resource? Resources are reusable if they can be used to serve future customers on the completion of the previous service. These resources are common in many real-world applications such as cloud computing, car rental, shared economy, and roadworthy repairs. For instance, in the car rental industry, customers will use one car for a few days and usually return it at the same location, after which the same car can be rented by future customers. To model the above setting, we consider a multi-class Erlang loss model. There are total C units of a single type reusable resource. We assume there are M classes of customers, and each class has its own general service time distribution with mean 1 over μj. Class J customers have RAD valuations drawn from a node distribution Fj. We assume this Fj is either regular or monotone hazard rate, which includes many distributions used in practice. Customers arrive to the system according to a Poisson process with rate capital lambda j, and we shall focus on the effective arrival rate at price pj, which is defined as the total arrival rate times the percentage of customers whose valuations are greater than the price pj. And we should assume there's a one-to-one corresponding between price and the effective arrival rate. As is common in the literature, we will use the lambda j as our decision variable. Since this is a loss system, customers will leave without purchase if all units are occupied. Now let's focus on the dynamic pricing policy. We know that the system state can be described using the number of customers in the system if and only if the service time is exponentially distributed. However, for general service time considered in this paper, the system state requires further tracking the service time consumed so far as yi for every busy unit. In our paper, we consider the fully dynamic pricing policy, which depends on the continuous state, and the inventory-based policy, which depends only on the number of customers in the system. And this is the dynamics of the one-class system with inventory-based policy. The objective is to choose a dynamic policy to maximize revenue rate. However, in practice, dynamic pricing suffers from various drawbacks. It's hard to implement in practice, and it's also an intractable problem for finding the optimal dynamic pricing policy due to the curse of dimensionality. Going beyond the seller's perspective, the customers may feel unfair if someone else's process is lower than their own for the same service. This may force the customers to become strategic and wait for lower prices, which in turn hurts the seller's revenue. However, a simple static pricing can avoid all these issues. The research question of this paper is, what's the performance of a simple static pricing policy across all possible parameters and scales? Now let me show you our main results. We prove that for multi-class system with regular distributions, static pricing can guarantee at least 15 over 19 of the revenue of the optimal fully dynamic pricing policy. Note that this is a universal guarantee, meaning that this bound holds for all the combinations of the parameters. Moreover, for the one-class system with immature distributions, we prove that static pricing can guarantee at least 19.4% of the revenue of the optimal inventory-based policy. We know that providing approximation ratio over 19 is rare in the literature. Finally, we show that the optimal static pricing policy can be easily computed, resulting in the first polynomial time approximation algorithm for the multi-class problem. In conclusion, we demonstrate the power of static pricing when selling reusable resources by providing strong universal performance guarantee. And our work theoretically validates dynamic pricing is questionable unless parameters and demand are perfectly estimated. Thank you.